Hello, my darlings. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another BanksyStyle Quickies lunchtime video. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you are all having a wonderful Wednesday. I had to check on that. Forgot the day. Yeah, hope everybody's well. Here's another Banksy Quickie for you. Okay, what are we doing? What are we covering? What are we jumping into? Boys and girls and other people. I don't know. What am I doing? What am I doing with my life? That's the question we should all be asking. What am I expressing in this day and age? Am I on the right path? Have I made some wrong turns in my days? Sure, why not? Do I have regrets? Not as many as you think. Yeah. Guys and girls, I've been getting a lot of this on my fucking feed, so I'm just gonna do it. Big up Rodney K. Rodney, you went back to Roger's image. Okay, I don't want to get distracted because this is a video just on the Lord of Suck My Rings. So Amazon, for those of you who may or may not know, has purchased the rights to some stories within the Lord of the Rings genre or within the Lord of the Rings lore. And they are making a new series, which is some estimated that it's like $500 million, $600 million estimated, possibly more. And they've only purchased like 160 pages of material, and they want to make 5 seasons of story out of that. This is another case of trying to take a small book like The Hobbit and make 3 movies out of, and clearly not really doing that well. I mean, The Hobbit was all right, but it certainly wasn't 3 films worth of material there. So they have to make some shit up, and that's the same with this. They're mostly going to create it, but it's going to be the Lord of the Woke. The ring of wokeness is really what we're talking about here. This is the kind of things we are to be expected to see coming out of this. Galadriel is going to be, I guess, our strong and beautiful, strong and powerful female protagonist. Excuse me. And we're going to have what effectively looks like a Don Lemon elf. If you don't know who Don Lemon is, he's an anchor on CNN. Go check him out and compare him to this image, because you will find it's practically identical. The Don Lemon elf and elves, there is nothing that suggests elves are in fact in any way African. They are not African. And also, this is meant to be, this individual in the middle is meant to be a dwarf queen, who is also of a diverse nature, shall we say, but also doesn't have a beard. And we famously were told, and it is part of the lore of Lord of the Rings, that dwarf women have beards. So, yeah. So there you go. So, I mean, obviously they didn't want to, I guess, make a person of color, a person of BAME, bearded. I don't know, maybe the bearded lady. Maybe it's aesthetics. I'm sure it's to do with something like that, and also to keep the Twitter mob raging about. Oh, look at that! Oh, what they think black people are all hairy? Is that what it is? No, dwarf women have beards. It's known into the lore. Okay, I don't want to get into this. I don't want to get too far into it. I've only got like maybe 10-15 minutes to fill in this freaking thing. Basically, they took Lord of the Rings and they're gonna woke the shit out of it. And there it is. There's our brave and beautiful protagonists trying to, heroine. I suppose that's probably misogynistic to call it a heroine. You just call them all heroes. She's a hero too. No, in English it is known as a heroine, same as a actress and an actor. An actor is a male actor. And nowadays they try to erase. They've been doing it for years, decades. They've been calling female actresses as actors. I'm just an actor. No, you're an actress. There's a reason language exists. These words exist for reasons. Of course, actress and actor doesn't exactly acknowledge the non-binaries. Maybe that's why they went down the whole trying to make it all just actor, because they know that the non-binaries and the and the Zers and the Z's and the unicorn people will be complaining. So that's probably what it is. But either way, yeah, they've gone down the road of just sort of diversifying Lord of the Rings, which is a medieval English-based story. It was written by an Englishman about English people for English people. It wasn't written for the diverse society of the global homogeneous people, the global homo, as Ralph would put it. It wasn't written for those people. It's like having, and they did. I think they took King Arthur and they tried to, or they took one of the British kings and made him into an Indian man. King Arthur is an English king. He's supposed to look like the English people. He's not meant to be diverse. I don't expect to watch King Arthur's story and expect a diverse cast. I mostly expect to see very white English people. How is it that you guys don't know this? And to me, this goes to Hollywood. If anyone at Hollywood ever listens to this, please take note. When you do this to us, as a BAME, as a person of BAME origin, as a person of the Middle East, and someone who comes from a heritage that has vast poetry, culture, stories, myths, and just plethora of our own stories and myths that we could tell, stories that have been told for eons, for literally thousands of years. When you go and make white people's stories and try to include us into it, to me, as one person who comes from a background of culture and history and poetry and great art, is a piss take, and you're insulting me. You are belittling me, and it's patronizing as fuck, and I despise you for it. I don't think you're including me. I don't think you see I can look at this and go, oh, there's a person of color, so I can relate. No, I look at this as patronizing me, as a little peon, a little minion going, oh, good little brown man, there you go. We put another brown man in a show for you. For a white man's show, we put a brown man in there just so you can feel included too, you little cheeky brown man, you. There you go. We put a brown man in for you. Aren't you happy now? Aren't you happy? No, I'm not fucking happy. Because you know why? Because I have culture. I have history. I have poetry and stories and myths and heroes and legends of my culture. Now, if you want to fucking really actually appeal to me, go and make those movies of my myths and stories. Now, I'm going to show you the culture that I come from. There's a series of stories called the 1001 Arabian Nights. Now, admittedly, they're not Arabian. They're actually Persian. But I don't care. I'm even willing to concede to that. But these are the people, these are the stories that I would like you to make films about. Now, some of them you have. Sinbad, for example. Sinbad is one of the famous characters that many people have made, already. You've already depicted in lots of great Hollywood movies. Sinbad's been around a long time, and you guys have done some good films, and I think you can take them up. But how about you make the movie of Shahryazad? How come you've never made the movie of Shahryazad? Shahryazad's story is a beautiful story. This is the story that it was the progenitor of the 1001 Arabian Nights. Her story is that story. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a little bit, it can be considered a little bit grim because she had to tell a story to the Sultan every night for 1001 nights in order to keep him from executing her. This was her method of keeping the Sultan from actually killing her because, I can get into the story, but I don't want to labor it. But go and look up the story of Shahryazad, who is the actual story that the 1001 Nights of 1001 Arabian Nights is named after. You've already made stories about Aladdin, and the cartoon was brilliant, the movie not so much. But you can take these people, these laws, these myths, and there is literally a plethora of them. Look at all these: Prince Ali, Ali Baba, and the Thousand Thieves, Harun al-Rashid, Zamun. Oh Christ, what is that? Urud. There's literally Duban. There's so many of these characters you can pick. These are just the characters. There's stories behind each of these characters as well. And make movies about them. If not, then go to, if you want to include Africans, 11 enchanting mythological figures of Africa, across Africa. Pick one of these characters and go and make a movie and a series about these characters. This would be much more appealing to the African man or the Middle Eastern man, or I mean, you made Moaba. Anyway, Maori film, Moana. No, shit, Moana. There you go, Moana. You made Moana. You guys have heard the story of oh Christ, what's that other girl? The Chinese girl. Shoot, I forgot the name. Damn it, I should have remembered. But you know what I mean. The Chinese. Oh, hold on. What's her name? What was her name? Mulan. Mulan. There you go. So you know you can explore the myths and the laws of all these other nations, but you desperately want to avoid that because you want to still make money out of the sweet American white folk. So you take a white person's story and you squeeze in us, the BAME people. And I find this, and all BAME people should find this incredibly offensive and patronizing, that you're trying to wedge us into the white stories of European origin. We don't belong there. We don't want to be there. It is no reason for us to be there. And you not only not please the BAME community, you piss off the BAME community by patronizing them, and you piss off the fan base of the original stories and the original work of art by bastardizing this the way you do. So you're not making anyone happy because, contrary to popular belief, us brown people are smart enough to recognize that you're fucking appealing to us and you're patronizing us. Nobody's fooled by this, by the way. Nobody's conned by this, that, oh, they put a brown man in. I must relate to this Lord of the Rings now because I didn't clearly relate to it when it was all white people. The story was not powerful enough. You know, I felt alienated. I needed a brown-colored person in there to make Lord of the Rings appealing to me. You people are insane. You people are absolutely... What morons pitch this kind of shit in Hollywood studios or in movie studios that they chuck $600,000 towards? $600 million at a production, and not one BAME person stood up and go, you know, this is kind of patronizing us. You guys are wedging us into your mythologies and your stories where we know we don't belong and we never did. It wasn't even written with us in mind. Why don't you spend $300 million on this one and give us another $300 million, and we'll make stories about the African myths, the gods and myths and the heroes of Africa, goddess of creation, Nama Buluku. There you go. Why don't you make a movie about the goddess of creation here? Why don't you actually look at African myths and heroes and make some movies and stories about them, original ones? Or why don't you look at Shahrazad and the 1001 Arabian Nights, and not only that, Shahnameh. There is another Persian book called the Shahnameh, which is the stories of the kings of Persia. You know, that's literally thousands of episodes or movies worth of material in that book. You guys don't even fucking flick the page open to give a shit. But you want to patronize me with this bullshit, with this kind of nonsense. So no. Thank you, Amazon. Thank you, Hollywood, for wedging the BAME people inside into the white shows. But I think the people of BAME should now start to say no, thank you. We will not be patronized and wedged into white people's stories just to please some demographic quota that you set for yourselves. We will not be patronized and stuck into some white European stories because it makes you feel good. Make movies, make TV shows about our myths and our stories and our history, because we have them and there's plenty of it. And we're not ashamed of it either. We're very proud of our history and our myths and our legends and our poetries and our great works of arts that you guys don't even fucking touch on. You don't even just like humor us with some of it. You made some Sinbad movies, like the last time was, I think, in the early 2000s, there was a Sinbad TV show. And the movies, you have to go back to like the 70s and 60s to see the clay animation Sinbad movies now. You haven't done anything decent with Middle Eastern stories or with African stories. The only appeal to an African scenario, to an African myth that Hollywood has made in recent times is fucking Black Panther, which was an American white man who created the story of Black Panther, and that is the myth story or the legend story or a superhero story that you want to appeal to the black people. You don't want to go to their cultures. You don't want to go to Africa and pick some African African bona fide myths and legends to make movies about. You don't want to go to the Caribbean even to pick some of the Caribbean's myths and legends and heroes. You want to go to Marvel, where a white man created a black superhero character to appease the black Africans in America, and you consider that to be an African superhero. Black Panther is not an African superhero. Don't ever fucking confuse that whole Wakanda and their African accents. That's bullshit. African Americans should have been pissed at that movie instead of cheering it on, because they bastardized and they took away money from an actual African story that they could have made about actual African heroes and myths and legends. And they took an American idea written by a white man and pretended it's an African story. It's not an African story. Black Panther is a white American story. That's what it is, because it was made and created by a white American. So why don't you actually go to the regions of the world, and if you want to appease the black man and the brown man and the Chinese man, then go and actually make movies and TV shows where from their sources, from their myths and legends. Don't wedge us into your white fucking stories all the time. We hate that. We know that you guys are patronizing us, and we despise you for it. And that is all. That is your Banksy Quickie for today. Thank you very much, guys, and have yourself an awesome day. Peace.